Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, it's Hyrule versus Hyrule versus Hyrule. We're ranking the Zelda Overworlds. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great, and I'll tell you why, Patrick. We have really set ourselves a task tonight.
Yes.
We're going to be ranking all of the overworlds from all of the Zelda games, and we have a great guest to help us do it.
That's right. Matt Acevedo has returned to the show to help us with this thing. But before we get to that, and we will get to it.
We promise.
Yes.
It's not all going to be preamble. The more I talk, it's going to be preamble.
Mm-hmm, that's right. This show's about, actually, I would say as far as shows go, we spend very little time on preamble.
It's true.
I like to think that we are very good at not taking a segment that isn't about anything and just stretching it out.
I think we should congratulate ourselves on doing so.
Mark, we are now shaking hands because we are very good at just getting to the point and not dwelling on nonsense.
And getting to the point is what people like about this show.
To get to the point, you can borrow my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. All you got to do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com, and then you can play it for as long as you want or don't want.
You send it back.
Mm-hmm.
Postage is paid both ways.
Both ways,
it's
baby.
The perfect program that continues to go on because people actually send the game back.
Which is a small miracle in and of itself. Speaking of small miracles, we would like to see your small miracles, your Super Mario Maker 2 levels, because the effort it goes into making one of those.
Yeah, would it be your SMM2Ms? Your Super Mario Maker 2 miracles is what we want to see.
Look, I think every Super Mario Maker 2 level is a little miracle, don't you?
And every acronym is a little miracle as well.
I agree with that completely. Email those to us, nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com, or tweet at us at NinCartSociety so we can play those levels and curse your name for being so difficult. Mark, Terry, no further? Is that what you believe we should do?
I mean, it's what this show is known for.
All right, let's get to it. From Hit Points and the Ultimate Fictional Character Podcast, we've got Matt Acevedo here with us today.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank you so much for doing
intro.
it.
What an intro. That was cool.
I think you are the guest who's been on the show the most at this point.
Yeah, this is your third appearance, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's my third. I thought Ryan Mogi had it for sure.
Oh, no, Ryan Mogi's got you tied up. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, and she did 2 that one time.
Ooh, okay,
Oh,
never
boy.
mind. Never mind.
I was on the stage shaking hands, getting the key to the city,
Right.
and I was on my own demise.
Now you should reveal that the envelope says Ryan Mogi. It's okay. You'll be back on.
That PA is going to get fired for sure.
Oh, totally. But you are here for a very important reason.
Yeah.
It's because tomorrow, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, which
of course you are,
the Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. No, wrong. Link's Awakening is out. You can play it on Switch, and it looks adorable.
It looks so cute.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. And the amiibo comes out, and it's like a little...
He's so cute.
Little Christmas ornament.
Look, I don't own a lot of amiibos myself, but doesn't it feel like a missed opportunity that it's just Link and it's not literally every character in that game?
Right. I feel like they gotta release them.
Chain
They
Chomp
gotta release them.
with
right?
a bow?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
even the Octolink.
They're all
Yeah.
so cute in this game.
Yeah. Yes.
Octorock.
I want it all. Like, give me Sail, the crocodile who wants your bananas.
Yeah.
Windfish?
Or we'll give you bananas for dog food.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, or oh my gosh, Mario 2 bad guy.
Wart.
Yeah, Wart.
Justice for Wart.
Yep.
Because he's in this game.
Yeah, he is. And he ranks somewhere on our list of Nintendo villains.
That's right.
I forget where.
I'm going to say the middle. Probably below King K. Rool.
Above King K. Rool. I've had enough.
I don't know that that's true.
I've had enough
I actually
of your
don't know
King
that
K.
that's
Rool
true.
apologizing. Okay, so one of the things that I think all really like about Link's Awakening is the world is amazing,
Yeah.
right? The world of Koholint Island is a super compelling little piece of that game. Now there are a lot of overworlds in the Zelda franchise. We're going to rank them all today, which means we have to discuss some terms, gentlemen.
That's
Okay.
right. And first, just laying the ground rules
Yes.
that we leave here friends no
Yes.
matter
Right.
what happens.
That's right.
Right. Two things are true. One is that we leave as friends no matter what happens. And the second is that we must reach a consensus.
That's right.
And
I like
the-
these.
There
the-
can be no dissent.
And the third is that it's definitive.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
And you guys have done so many, and it's like it's gonna get published into a book one day. I swear.
That someone's going to collect our definitive list.
Yeah.
I look forward to not reading that book.
Same.
All right. So the thing that we need to discuss, I think, first and foremost, is that there are some of these games that include multiple overworlds.
Yes.
Right. And I think some of them are perhaps more justified as a separate world than others. So let's talk about some of those and whether or not we want to include them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great place to start, man.
So, we got to talk about, so
I think that's a
the Twilight
no-no.
Realm.
personally.
Okay, Matt says maybe no Twilight Realm.
I know. I'm actually wondering, looking at this, I'm wondering if we went about this a little bit the wrong way.
Oh, good.
Where,
Oh,
no. So what we did is because of course we are representing worlds by amiibo.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if what actually makes sense for us to be ranking like the worlds of each game, right? So like Twilight
Interesting.
Princess would be the Hyrule of Twilight Princess, but it would also include talking
The
about the
Twilight
Twilight Realm
Realm.
and which one of which I guess game has the strongest overworld. I don't know that that's true. I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
and right now we've got a Hyrule that is the Hyrule from Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, even though like they're different maps in the game, but like the original Zelda 1 is part of the Zelda 2 map. Like the southwest corner is the map from Zelda 1.
And technically, there's a lot. I mean, less in a less explicit way than Zelda 1 and 2, where like it literally is just part of the map. But a lot of these, right, the mythology of them is that they either were part of Hyrule
Right.
or they like butt up right against it. Like the worlds from Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, they're all like they're neighbors of
Yeah.
Hyrule, right?
Right.
So they or like Hytopia,
Termina.
or like stuff like that. Like Hytopia used to be part of Hyrule, or maybe was used to not be part of Hyrule, but then it got annexed by
No.
Hyrule or something. It's all
So
there's a lot of politics.
Here's what I think we should let guide us on this.
Okay.
Is we should follow where we have interest and passion. So if we are talking about them and we realize that we're not that invested in, say, the Twilight Realm or Low Rule or the Dark World, that we just eliminate those as concepts. And we say that that's just an extension of the Hyrule from that game. Right? Like kind of what you were saying, Mark. And then, with the few rare exceptions of like the Hyrule from Zelda 1 and 2 that they're like sort of shared, that like that's the one place where it's not like one game equals one world.
Yeah,
I'm into that.
I like that.
Yeah.
So on that subject, do we want to just quickly touch on the Twilight Realm, Low Rule, and the Dark World as the sort of like three parallel worlds that are like kind of up for, like we're talking about removing them right now, right?
Yeah, or at least like smushing them back
Into one.
Into one.
Yeah, because I would immediately go ahead and say that the Twilight Realm is literally like I don't feel like there's much difference. Like Low Rule feels like a very different map compared to like the Twilight Realm and Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't know. I think that could just be combined into one.
All right, so let's take the Twilight Realm off the map.
Yeah.
As represented by this Ganondorf amiibo. So
Oh gosh.
the one thing that I did want to say about the Twilight Realm, if we were ranking it, is that I would put it near the bottom. Well, I love Midna more than most other characters in the Zelda universe. Every second you spend in the Twilight Realm is torture. It's so bad and slow and boring, and you're collecting these tears of whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't care, and it's all the color's all washed out and brown. I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't really like Wolf Link that much.
I'm not into Wolf Link either. I think it was And I wasn't a big fan of the mechanics.
Yeah,
But I like the story and stuff.
right.
But that was my least favorite.
It feels
part.
very much of its time, where it's like, how do we make Hyrule really gray
Yeah.
and desaturated? It's like, oh, the Twilight Realm. But I actually think we're doing Twilight Realm a kindness, because I agree with you that on its own it's not that strong. But I wonder if the combined strength of the Twilight Realm and the Hyrule from Twilight Princess, which is pretty cool,
Yeah.
will give it a boost later on.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the same way about the Dark World from A Link to the Past.
So here's what I'll say in defense of the Dark World from A Link to the Past is that it has a sweet sadness to it that is, often celebrated in like Majora's Mask and like its setting of Termina, where like you've got the flute kid who turns into a tree, you've got I guess another old man who turns into a tree, and then like even when you first pop into it, that you meet this like little pink blob who's just getting kicked around by this bully with horns. I don't know. There's something very like sad and magical about the Dark World to me.
Is there enough? Like, is that just the people, or like? Because I feel like the land is still
like a mirror image of
yeah.
Right, like to me, I feel like it's weird to make the distinction between the. I agree with everything you're saying,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I
I
agree
think
too.
it's weird to make the distinction between the Dark World of Link to the Past, but that like the alternate universe or the future of Ocarina of Time. That's
as not a separate
right.
space.
Because to me, it's basically is a Dark World.
Sure.
Because the landscape and everything is the same. You're really just kind of like Back to the Future.
That's where
doing
Biff won.
it.
He won
yeah.
Hyrule.
That's right.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That mountain has a giant tower of Biff's face on it.
Yeah.
Alternate 1985. But do we feel the same way about Low Rule? Because Low Rule, the map is a little different, and it also has like a more fleshed out. Like, what is the name of the princess from Low Rule?
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say anything.
Hilda.
Hilda. There
Yeah.
we go, Matt.
Woo! Still got it.
She's cool. The Link
surprise.
and the surprise,
Yeah.
is very cool. And even like the villain in that is super neat too.
I love that game.
That game's
I think
really
that game's
good.
phenomenal, man.
Yeah, so my vote is we keep Low Rule separately, and the reason for that is I actually think it's a phenomenal game, and it benefits from being a modern game where the world can be a little more fleshed out. Whereas like A Link to the Past and even Ocarina of Time, it's like an aesthetic change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's more to Low Rule than just like.
It feels like its own world. It
Yeah.
literally felt different to me,
Yeah, and it's not just like a messed up version of the main world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Dark World, represented here by the Rider Link
Very
amiibo,
angsty. Yeah.
has now been removed. So let's just recap what we do have on the board here so that the listeners and we are all on the same page.
Okay.
And if there are any objections or anything like that, once I get through them, we will argue about it some more. Okay, so the Hyrule from Twilight Princess, the Hyrule from Zelda's 1 and 2, Koholint Island from Link's Awakening, the Land of the Ocean King?
World of the Ocean
World
King.
of the Ocean King from Phantom Hourglass, Termina from Majora's Mask, New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks, The Great Sea from Wind Waker, Hyrule from the Ocarina of Time, Low Rule from Link Between Worlds, the Hyrule from Link to the Past / Link Between Worlds. We'll come back to that one in a second. Holodrum from Oracle of
Seasons,
represented here by Tom Nook amiibo. Labrina from Oracle of Ages, here represented by Shulk. Hytopia from Triforce Heroes. Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, and Skyloft / the Sky / the Surface from Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
And then the last one here is we're using Olimar to represent the Hyrule of Minish Cap / Four Swords / Four Swords Adventure / also maybe the Minish Realm or whatever it's called. I feel like that's going to either end up at the bottom or we just cut it right now.
I'm not like it's my least favorite. I could say of all these overworlds.
I just don't have any affinity for it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I like played Four Swords Adventure when it was included on like the Game Boy Advance,
Yeah.
Link
Yeah.
to the Past, and I played a little bit of Minish Cap. But yeah, I just definitely like nostalgia. It's not there for me for this game.
Yeah, and I would say of all of these, it is the game that I have played the least, and that's Skyward Sword is on here, and this is the game that I've played the least. So I would vote to either remove it from the list or just rank it at the bottom.
I was gonna say I think we have to rank it at the bottom.
Okay.
I think so too. Because it's still technically an overworld.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean I agree with that. So here we go, our first like real casualty, the Hyrule
Wow.
from Minish Cap at the bottom,
And so it begins.
and so it begins. What are
man.
other worlds here we don't too much care for that might join it at the bottom?
Okay. Honestly,
Yeah.
hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
The Phantom Hourglass, the land of the Ocean King,
Yes.
I find it underwhelming comparing it to like Wind Waker. I just think it's it's both that and even Spirit Tracks, more so this one because Spirit Tracks at least you can like explore more. Phantom
Yeah.
Hourglass, you're a little bit more confined to like eat to that like it felt not as explorative and there
Yeah.
wasn't much to do. You're kind of bound to that temple that you were climbing.
You had to keep going back to that temple and doing
Yeah.
like the same
same
part
puzzles.
of it over and over again.
Yeah,
I do like exploring it with Linnebeck.
Yeah.
And like his ship I always thought was like kind of cool. It was like a steamboat, it seemed like.
I did love. He's a great side character.
Yeah.
I want more of him.
Yeah.
Bring it. But I don't know, man.
I mean, I'm a Phantom Hourglass defender. Like, I like that game a lot. I like it way more than Spirit Tracks.
Sure.
I will agree. I like the game more than Spirit Tracks.
But I agree with you that I think that because Phantom Hourglass is a little bit weird because it is a direct sequel to Wind Waker. So the Great Sea or whatever it's called from Wind Waker,
Mhm.
like they're almost the same thing except like at parts of it you go to the world of the Ocean King in Phantom Hourglass, and
Right.
so like that is not the strongest part of Phantom Hourglass, so I am fine putting it lower
Yeah.
on our list because I think the Wind Waker stuff like
Yeah.
we'll just talk about for Wind Waker.
But and I think that's my next to go. I think it's a better game than Spirit Tracks, but Spirit Tracks I felt even though it was like a new take on an overworld, even
Yeah.
though you were still kind of confined to these train tracks. I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I
it was
totally
interesting.
get
I
ya.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the world of the Ocean King
From
from
Phantom Hourglass.
is our next down there. Do we think then that Spirit Tracks' new Hyrule also belongs down there, or is there something else on here that we think maybe goes in its place? I'm gonna be straight up here. I don't have a ton of love for the Oracle games or the worlds of the Oracle
Those games, I will say the overworlds, man. I got so lost in those.
Yeah.
Lost. I was like, how do you figure this out? Like,
So I think the Oracle games, like the overworlds, are very linked to the pasty. Like even if you look at the maps, like
Right.
they're obviously very much just built in the design of Link to the Past map.
yeah.
So which one is it? Like
Labrina. Or,
yeah. So like Labrina, represented by Shulk, they kind of do this like Oracle of Ages has like a time mechanic, right? So there's like old present day Labrina and Labrina in the past, and so
Yeah.
that reminds me very much of the Dark World stuff from Link to the Past. Obviously, they were kind of like aping off of that. I don't really feel very strongly about it. One thing that I do really think is cool about
Seasons.
yeah, about Holodrum from Oracle of Seasons is that because the game is like, Oracle of Seasons, you see the overworld in 4 different time frames, right?
Which
There's
is
like
crazy.
the winter
Yeah.
one.
It's so cool that like all the rest of the Zelda games are like 2 worlds. Where we just do 2 worlds when they even do that. And this one's like, nah, man, we do 4.
Right. Well, in like the map itself doesn't change that dramatically. My memory of it is that the map itself doesn't change that dramatically, but like aesthetically it's very different. And a lot of the other Hyrules is just like, here is the snowy area, here is the desert area, here's like the wet area. But this game is like, here's like the whole map, and then depending on which season it's representing, then the entire map looks different. Plus, it has the whole like sub-world, like underworld where the map is different, so that kind of is its Dark World equivalent.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I think I like Holodrum more than I like
agree with that.
Hyrule from like Spirit Tracks or something.
Sure.
I would say honestly I think Labyrinth and Spirit Tracks are my next two, but I don't know which I don't have a preference as to which order. And I
Okay.
don't know what you guys think.
I mean, I think Labrina is our next closest to the bottom. And again, just to recap, that's the one from Oracle of Ages
Yes.
that we see in 2 different time periods, but not in different seasons. And at this point, because it sounds like we're probably about to loop back to Spirit Tracks and or Holodrum, I would also like to insert Skyloft and the Sky and the Surface from Skyward Sword. Because, well, that game has some cool dungeons and some ambitious, if flawed, storytelling and neat one-to-one motion combat. I don't think like the world of it is a compelling thing to explore.
Yeah. There hasn't been any like, it's so new, this world. It's like there's not much to it,
That's the other thing. This
It's
is
too new.
This is pre-Hyrule.
Yeah.
I need a Hyrule. I need to at least know that Hyrule exists somewhere.
I do really like the art style of Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
And I like how bright and colorful the world is. I like the idea of having like this world up in the clouds.
I like that you could fly.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I like those
Um,
big dumb birds.
But it was
Yeah.
also kind of like handcuffed by being on the Wii. And I feel like if this had been like a later game, that it would have been like really beautiful. But I just don't feel like it ever like really got there.
Yeah.
The Wii really the Wii controller plus was like just thought was so awful.
Yeah.
Like the first boss when you fight what's his name? Garam for the first time. It's there's like a quick time event and I'm like I can't get my controller to work.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing that's like coloring this too is that like just overall I don't like the game that much and therefore I think less of the world as a result.
Yeah.
Which is okay, right?
Yeah.
Right, guys? Tell me it's going to be okay.
Are we still friends? Okay, good.
No, that was the second rule. Or the first rule. I can't
was
remember.
one of the
It was
rules.
one of the rules. Okay, so I'm putting Skyloft next. Although that's tentative because I do think we need to talk about Spirit Tracks.
I honestly before that I kind of think we missed one.
What's that?
I think Hytopia doesn't really have a
it's a very small like
overworld.
town, right?
It's
like
a town,
a castle.
and then you go into
Yeah. There's like a castle or like a manor house, and then it's surrounded by
Shops.
a big shops, and then
bazaar.
like a big wall.
Yeah.
And it's just
That's
like
right.
this small kind of outcropping that like I was saying was part of Hyrule will once again become part
It's
of
like
Hyrule.
a kingdom to the north of Hyrule. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I will say in Hytopia's defense is that they are singularly focused on fashion in Hytopia in a way that no other like Zelda world is singularly focused on anything, right?
That's true.
That like all that they're interested in is looking good, which
Yeah.
like, hey, come on.
It's like a French Hyrule.
I mean, guys,
Yes.
the three of us, we get it.
We look
Yeah.
we look good. We're a couple of fashionable guys.
So like, who do I relate with the most?
Yeah.
Obviously, the people of Hytopia.
Obviously. But yeah, the point stands that there's not really an overworld. And there's a town, and that's really just an excuse to like link together some, pardon the pun, some like dungeon crawly multiplayer map things.
Yeah.
I
I kind of think we misplaced. I think it needs to go lower.
we can do that.
Like at least, like Phantom Hourglass. At least I think is better.
Okay. So, do we think the Phantom Hourglass
World of the Ocean King.
World of the Ocean King is better than Labyrinth? Like, did we jump too quickly to ranking Phantom Hourglass where we did?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So let's move Labrina down a rung here.
I mean, if nothing else, we don't really have feelings about Labyrinth, but we have like some sort of passion about Phantom Hourglass in the World of the Ocean King. So,
Yeah.
So okay, then at this point, I would, because I do like Hytopia, but I'll let it go. because it's not really a world. I think we can put that in above Labrina and below the World of the Ocean King.
That feels good to me.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I don't want to argue too early for something like
You don't want to spend that
that
argument
currency
capital
yet.
now?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Otherwise, it'd be a long night. I will say that I think that Phantom Hourglasses again is just like kind of you're just like that's an ocean, and then I really like the fashion aspect.
I like the fashion aspect too. So, like, if you want to come to its defense with me, I will even happily put it above Skyloft.
I am like Patrick. That's a handshake, which
Yes.
you can't. There we go.
Well, you know what? I love the fashion too. If we agree that that's an overworld, then I agree it should go past over Skyloft.
Okay, guys, do we need to just take a second aside here and say maybe Hytopia will end up our number one? I don't know. But
Crazier things have happened.
That's true. Tentatively, it is going above Skyloft.
I love it.
It feels
Okay.
good.
All right. But now,
Yeah.
dudes, we need to get back to New Hyrule in the Spirit Tracks and Holodrum in Seasons. Because I think the rest of these, which are largely
This makes sense.
Hyrules and stuff, that we probably want to save until a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we think the order here for Spirit Tracks and Holodrum?
So I don't like Spirit Tracks as a game, and I don't think that New Hyrule is all that interesting. Part of it is just hamstrung by the fact that you are never able to like explore.
Yeah.
Right? There are like secrets, but they have to be so telegraphed because everything is on railroad tracks.
Right.
Yeah, and you got to like shoot at switches with cannons and stuff.
I'm with you on this.
Okay,
I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So that
New
goes
Hyrule
next.
Goes after Hytopia.
Mm-hmm. And then Holodrum from...
Guys, I'm sorry to keep doing this, but actually, I like Hytopia better than I like the New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks.
You know what? I do. Like, I remember turning on that game. I was like, man, this is fun and weird and new. I agree. I think that should go.
Hytopia.
Yeah, we really are
Hytopia.
dangerously. I mean, we're addicted to fashion. What can I say?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I guess in New Hyrule's defense, there is no other game that's going to put Link in a little train engineer's hat, a train conductor's hat.
They're really fabricating their own destiny.
There we go.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe you can in Hytopia. That's a hat you could buy in Hytopia, right? If it were a real place. But it is being beaten out by Holodrum.
Which
Yeah,
I feel good about because I really like the season aspect
Yeah.
of that.
I do too. But then you could wear different clothes on different seasons.
But technically probably true in Holodrum as well, right?
Look,
people dress sensibly for all seasons.
I just want you to be aware that one of the costumes in Hytopia is a Goron suit.
Why are you
where he's like wearing a
making
mascot
this more
suit.
complicated than it needs to be? Do you know what?
This is exactly as complicated as it
Look,
needs to
is
be.
Hytopia gonna maybe just be like put into its own category and become number one of its own like subcategory?
Yes, S plus rank.
Possibly,
Yes.
right, possibly. But for right now, I think all we did was talk ourselves into putting Hytopia above
man.
Holodrum.
I think that's what happened.
That was a really close call.
Okay, I'm going to throw out something controversial because I think we just need to get to it now before it gets any higher.
Sure.
Is that I don't really like the Hyrule of Zelda and 1 and Zelda 2, even though they are iconic.
Yes, I am totally with you. I think it has the crutch of being the first.
Yes.
But unfortunately, and as all, the student should always surpass. If you're doing it right, a student should surpass the master. And I think in this case, all of these games after it have surpassed it.
Yeah. Yes.
In Overworlds.
And it's also the least, especially the first one, is like the most empty of them, right? That like, yeah, there are enemies and whatever, dungeons and stuff, but like the people are largely absent. And then like they kind of insert people back in Zelda 2, but man, these are people that say 4 words to you, and some of them are "I am error." So like the world there isn't super compelling.
I do like the idea of like the dungeons of Zelda 2 and going into towns in Zelda 2 is a interesting idea, but like
And it does have that big graveyard, and that like spider that you have to scare away by playing the flute.
But like I guess like the thing that I don't like about the Hyrule of the original Zelda is that for as groundbreaking as it was, and for a lot of people, like the memory of trying to burn every bush to see if there's a secret behind it was so like formative for them. I don't think it's very much fun to revisit now, because like the idea of as an adult going to every wall and trying to like blow it up with a bomb just sounds tedious. And so I feel like other Zeldas, like you were saying, Matt, have just done such a better job of like balancing the exploration with discoverability.
I agree. And now we're on, I'm not even joking, like while we're on it, like do we like Hytopia more than Zelda 1 and 2?
All
I mean, personally.
So we're putting... Hold on. Let's lock in that Hyrule is like the next one that's like going on this list.
I think so at this point.
And now we challenge it with Hytopia.
The Hytopia test.
Yeah. It is the Hytopia test.
Look.
Now that you're thinking about it, it's like really flavorful, and all the people have very distinct personalities that match their clothes. And it's like, I remember all of this. Like, I don't know. It's very memorable.
And the original Legend of Zelda, you can't change your tunic color, right?
No, you do get another tunic,
right?
And that's how you become
that's how you get
the brown version.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
That's right.
But I mean, those are your fashion options, green and brown. I think Hytopia beats the Hyrule from Zelda's 1 and 2.
I feel really good about that. That feels right.
You guys, Hytopia has really worked its way up.
It's going to be an upside.
You fought for it, and then you got us on your side, and now I feel very strongly about Hytopia. Oh my gosh! Also, we discovered that we're all going to actually play the game together.
Yeah, I might be riding that high right now. Okay, so that means that we are left with 8 like sort of legendary class overworlds, and I think we should just review them at this point. So left on the board are Termina from Majora's Mask, Hyrule from Twilight Princess, the ocean, what is it called from Wind Waker? The Great Sea. Hyrule from Ocarina of Time, Lorule from Link Between Worlds, Hyrule from Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, it's the same world, the Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, and Koholint Island from Link's Awakening. So I think next up here is probably Lorule.
That was going to be my go-to as well.
If we're, you know what's tough about it?
Yeah.
Because do we have Links Between Worlds on here?
It's grouped in with A Link to the Past.
Oh, I see.
Saying like that the Hyrule part of it is the same.
Yeah.
Is the thinking.
Interesting. I actually think that I like Lorule more than the Link Between Worlds, but I like Link to the Past.
I got it.
And the Dark World together. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so do we almost need to like separate those two Hyrules if we are going to be grouping in the Dark World of Link to the Past with Link to the Past?
So yeah, we could. So if we wanted to, we could at this point say that the Smash Link amiibo, which is currently representing Link to the Past, the Hyrule from Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, we can make him represent both worlds from Link to the Past, and the Marina, who's currently representing Lorule, can be changed to represent both worlds from Link Between Worlds,
and really leaning on the Lorule part of it heavily.
Right. Yeah. That feels good. I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we'll do. We're not going to change anything written on them. We'll just leave them as is. So does that mean that what does that mean? What does that mean? Where do we put these things?
Well, if it was going to be, because here was my predicament, is that if I thought they were separate at first, where that Link Between Worlds Hyrule was its own, I was going to put that next, and Laurel would keep going either after that, but together I think they're stronger.
Is there anything on here that you think they beat out?
I guess I would say the Link to the Past Hyrule, which again I love that game, so I have a lot of nostalgia for.
Yeah.
But as I think it was probably done better in A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
And it's hard for me to justify putting it above a lot of the remaining ones, except maybe Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Is it weird? I'm going to propose something, and we don't have to do this. We can go with the order that you're suggesting. is there any world where we want those two to tie?
Oh,
unprecedented.
Yes.
Wow.
That Link to the Past, Hyrule, and Dark World.
Hytopia would
No.
all tie.
No. Look, Hytopia will then get to challenge these two and maybe move up a rank. And then Link to the Past's Low Rule and Hyrule, would those be on the same level?
Interesting.
It may even also be fitting as we're having a hard time separating them.
Yeah, because
Anyway.
they are very similar.
Yeah.
They're basically the same mirrors of each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense.
A tie. An unprecedented tie.
Wow.
Okay.
Marina.
And Smash Link. Now, I do think that this is where Hytopia stops its meteoric rise.
Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like it gets blocked by those two.
Yeah.
All right, we are in the final.
Wait, okay. Actually, thinking about this, I mean, not
no,
a Hytopia, not Hytopia,
Right.
not a Hytopia champion.
Right.
But I think Hytopia is elegantly placed right now, fitting for its fashion.
She's looking
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Hytopia's looking great.
I think I would. I don't know that we actually need to put these two as at a tie. Like personally, like
That you think that Link Between Worlds is
I think it's a
better
stronger
world.
overworld overall because of the strength of Lower Rule, for me personally.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm not being fair and collapsing them together.
I'm for that. I think low rule is just like, I mean, even when we started this thing, we even mentioned how the low rule was, how we like the differences in low rule, and
Yeah.
it didn't just feel like a skin on top. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that it
and-
has like extra personality.
yeah, I would agree with that.
But now that we're talking about it, going back to your original point about Dark World,
Yes.
right, and how it does have a certain like sadness to it.
Yeah.
That also, by the way,
We're all standing.
we
We're
are all
standing
standing up now. It has a certain sadness to it that I don't think is matched by Low Rule, where I think Low Rule or Dark World is a little more melancholy, whereas Low Rule is a little more like mysterious and dangerous.
Well, and like it does. Low Rule does have a sadness, but it's like an epic scale sadness.
And maybe it is because of the twist at the end of like the Low Rule saga that it doesn't feel so sad, right? Because you know that there were like machinations behind everything that was happening there. That right, like all the stuff that's happening to the people in the Dark World version of Hyrule in A Link to the Past, it's out of their control, right? This is all stuff that like, which I mean obviously is true for the inhabitants of Low Rule, but it just there's the distinction between like Ganon and Ganondorf being this like big bad.
Yeah, and I guess if nothing else, like Low Rule sets itself apart by being different in that way. The Dark World is dark because Ganon got his hands on the Triforce and messed everything up. Whereas like Low Rule is the result of all of these different forces at play. For like it's just more interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. This makes sense to me.
Okay,
I'm happy with that choice.
Mark, thank you for pulling us out of that tie, even though it was going to be an unprecedented thing that we've never done before.
It was unprecedented for a very short amount of time.
Okay, very good. Okay, now that leaves us with a pretty strong
Yeah, this is a tough.
final six, which go Termina, Hyrule from Twilight Princess, the Great Sea from Wind Waker, Hyrule from Ocarina of Time, Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, and Koholint Island from Link's Awakening. I think Ocarina of Time is probably next here.
I think so too, because Twilight Princess is just a better version of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so too.
that makes sense to me.
And
I'm actually very comfortable with that because all the other choices I am having a hard time with. I have, you know what? I think I'm at a point. I know where I would put like my top two,
yeah.
but I don't know if I want to.
No, let's hold that. Let's
I don't want shots fired yet.
But I think this is right. I think so. Ocarina of Time, and then immediately after it, Twilight Princess.
Well, I don't know, but I think for me, one of the reasons that Ocarina of Time ranks where it ranks is it was such a game changer for what Hyrule could be, and like the sense of exploration, like the difference that you really like felt in the like different areas, and you were going like underwater and like all of this cool stuff that you never did before.
Right. Well, and like the first time you walk out onto Hyrule Field.
Oh, it was. I remember it as a kid. It was like, overwhelming in a good way. It was like, wow.
Yeah, like that's the title screen, right? Is
Yeah.
just like galloping through Hyrule Field, but the dark, like I don't even know what you would call it.
The future.
Yeah, like the future version of it, I don't like spending time in at all.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It's spooky.
It is spooky. Spooky
Yeah.
ooky. Also, just like the original Zelda and Zelda 2, it is so like it is to its benefit that it is the first, but also to its detriment because it is a small Hyrule. Right, like you can ride Epona across that field, which felt enormous, in like 45 seconds.
But that's such a blessing though, because it's not
True.
like traversal in that game now is all that much fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like the fact that you can get around pretty quickly is huge.
I honestly, I don't know, man. I think I like Ocarina of Time Hyrule more than Twilight
Princess.
I'm kind of into. I was kind of into the future that was really spooky and dark. I didn't like the Dark World stuff. I wasn't really a big fan of, or not. Sorry, the Twilight Worlds.
Yeah, so let's talk about this because both of these really good versions of Hyrule have like kind of darker reflected versions.
Yeah.
One being the future and the other being the Twilight Realm. And if we have to weigh those against each other, which is more compelling? The future of Ocarina of Time or the Twilight Realm from Twilight Princess? Also, keep in mind, Twilight Princess has a house that's broken down that Yetis live in. And he's your friend. He makes soup for you.
That's true, but there's a giant Goron that builds you a super sweet longsword.
Also, Twilight Princess has like that western like ghost town where it
Oh,
turns
I
into like a
forgot about
shooting
that.
range, which is also
Yeah.
very
I forgot
cool.
about that.
Like I feel like the Hyrule. I don't like the Twilight Realm. So like if we're comparing the Twilight Realm between like the dark future of Ocarina of Time,
that
I would
loses out
choose
there.
the dark
Yeah.
future. But I just I think it's so the Hyrule of Twilight Princess is so varied and and like beautiful. Like it really is. Like beautiful, like we're talking about in Ocarina of Time going out on Hyrule Field. Like Hyrule Field in Twilight Princess is beautiful, and there's like the Hyrule Bridge.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really, really, really like the Hyrule of Twilight Princess as much as I hate the Twilight Realm of Twilight Princess.
I see. That's tough, man. I think for me, when I think of Hyrule, I don't know if this is nostalgia at play or what it is, but I think of the Ocarina of Time Hyrule and specifically the Death Mountain with the ring around it, the smoke ring. Like that to me is like iconic.
Yeah, what's the Death Mountain of Twilight Princess like? I mean, I guess it's just
a mountain.
It's similar, and that's a hike up that mountain that's not fun actually.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to wrestle a lot of Gorons, right? Like sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so,
they're wearing like nipple tassels. That's also the world that has those weird face chickens. I'm back and forth on this, man. I don't. I love Twilight Princess. I love the world. There's a lot about it that icks me. You know.
Okay. Do we? If we can't come to a consensus, do we punt on this one for now and return to it later?
So we think that these two are probably next.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I feel strong about that.
Let us. We will put them in a temporary tie for now. Mark, calm down. A temporary tie for now.
Oh no, there's steam coming out of his ears.
well, we address what comes next. Just to reiterate, we have the Great Sea from Wind Waker, Termina from Majora's Mask, Hyrule from Breath of the Wild, and Koholint Island from Link's Awakening. What is next on this list?
Man, is Overworld including all of the characters and items? Is that like everything?
It might have to be.
Yeah.
I hadn't been thinking about that specifically, but as we get to these like final four,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to really like break the tie.
Because here's what I love.
Yeah.
I love about Koholint. Well, I think the next ones for me are between Termina and Koholint. I think.
So I really like Koholint Island. I'm very excited that we're going back to it. I think for me the next one is Termina, which I love, but it is also a place which bums me out.
I agree. So so that was I totally agree with you on that.
It's sad to be there for sure.
It is sad to be there in the same 3 days before they're wiped off the map.
I mean, the 4 areas you go to is like the coping with death, basically.
Yes.
It's like, grief, acceptance,
And right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like every time that you affect change, it just gets wiped out.
Yeah, I mean that's literally the reason that I have to stop playing it every time I start doing it, is that like I do something good, get the item, and then have to reset time, and then I'm like, oh, it's still snowy up there at Goron Peak. Like, it's too sad for me.
It's very sad.
So that's I would put Termina next, even though it is maybe one of the most like completely realized worlds.
Yeah.
And like has such a clear artistic vision that it is not a place I want to spend a whole lot of time.
It's a bummer to be in.
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
So the Great Sea.
Yeah.
The thing I like about that the most really is the like the characters in that game, the characters in Twilight Princess, like the NPCs and all that kind of stuff.
Wait, Twilight Princess or Wind Waker?
Oh, excuse me, Wind Waker. I don't know that I love traversal in that world.
Traversal is a knock against the Great Sea for sure.
But at the same time, I did like the random one because I don't know. Actually, this might be a bad thing against it because you're right. Like traversing through it was very difficult,
especially in the GameCube version.
Yeah,
right. It's very slow.
Yeah,
and it's only marginally better in the Wii U version.
And what I did like is in those where like I'm just gonna go to this island and like something would happen in between. And I got so excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when like the first time I saw the ghost ship, I was like, what is this thing? And it felt like there's a lot of mystery to it. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
It felt like it was doing the sort of like emergent gameplay experience, like encounters that like we actually do get later in like Breath of the Wild, right? Where just like stuff is happening in the world and like you happen upon it. Yeah. It's not, I mean, it's a little bit more prescribed than that, but it sure feels random. And this game has the moment where you are taken down like to the bottom of the sea and you can see the Hyrule that's down there that's been flooded by
which is really cool.
Which makes your mind think like for the rest of the game as you're sailing around where you're like, I wonder what I'm over right now.
Yeah.
Which is so cool that I think for me has it edge out Termina, but I don't know how you're feeling about that.
I think for me it edges out Termina too. I like pirates and sailing.
Yeah.
When I played it, I got into One Piece when I first started playing it. I was really into pirates and sailing.
I think you guys are totally right. I also think a knock against Termina is, I mean, we're so fashion forward.
That's
right. Even with the 3DS remake, Termina is kind of ugly.
It is pretty ugly.
Because it's such a doomed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a doomed world.
Yeah.
Like it's aesthetically feels suffocating a little bit.
Okay. All right. So should we put Termina next and then the Great Sea, or so let's put Termina next.
I feel good about that.
And then we need to maybe discuss these last three together.
Okay. But first
we need to
No. I just want to like after we had talked about Termina some more, like I want to put the Hyrule of Twilight Princess above Termina.
I feel that way too because I like being in those Hyrules. I don't like being in Termina.
Yeah, interesting. So are we taking both Ocarina and Twilight Princess and moving them up as a unit?
I think so because like the biggest thing for me too is that I don't think you can't really leisurely explore Termina because there's that clock.
Right.
So it's
so stressful. It's always
so
stressful.
All right, so Termina is now going above the Hyrule and Lorule of Link Between Worlds, and Hyrule from Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild have now moved up.
No, Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time. We have not. Elephant in the room here. I think Breath of the Wild may run away with this thing. I think.
I mean, I think so.
I mean, we're getting
good.
there.
We're getting there.
To it now, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to argue against it because all of the things I like about it basically takes all the good things from all the Hyrules and puts them in a single world. Like it has
sometimes literally.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. It has like amazing NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great clothing.
Great clothing.
Yeah.
Lots
Sorry,
of
Hytopia.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like it's aesthetically beautiful. It really is hard to argue against Breath of the Wild's Hyrule. But we'll do it anyways.
But okay, we will find a way. Do we want to lock in Ocarina of Time versus Twilight Princess now before we
I think we should.
finalize the final 3? Okay. I think we got to put Twilight Princess above Ocarina of Time. I think is where I'm coming in.
I mean,
that.
Matt really might have talked me back on
Oh,
this. Like,
man.
I might like. I can kind of see why Ocarina of Time is better, and maybe it really is just for the like iconic status of Ocarina of Time, whereas Twilight Princess, a super well-selling game, has Link's crossbow training as well.
Of course.
Yes.
But we've talked time and time again about what game A did, game B did better, and I think that is true, especially for Twilight Princess, where it was cutting its teeth on something that would really be elaborated on in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Ocarina of Time was the standard
inventing
for
it.
so long.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still really leaning towards Ocarina.
Being above.
I think so.
All right. Let's do that.
But do you feel about?
I mean, I do. There are a lot of features of the Twilight Princess Hyrule that are probably more ambitious than like the game is given credit for. Like they did the remaster of it on Wii U, and it was sort of released like it felt quiet. It felt like not everyone was like plugged into it and like super excited about this game.
Yeah.
And while everyone played it on Wii and GameCube, I don't know. I feel like the game is just a little bit underrepresented in the like canon of great Zelda games, and maybe that's deserved in some ways. But I mean, hey, if it's in our top 5, like I'm okay with that. I'm okay with putting it under the Hyrule from Ocarina of Time.
Maybe this really is the best one to just do a tie on.
What's that? Wind Waker
No,
versus
Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess. Because they are also elaborating on like the same world, basically.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for there to be a tie in here. That sounds like so much fun to me.
I mean, it would be this unprecedented for real instead of the temporary unprecedented.
We're doing it. We're
Yes.
doing it.
Yeah.
Tied for fourth place, Ocarina of Time
Heck
and
yeah.
Twilight Princess Hyrule.
I feel good about that. I feel really good about that.
Me too. But that does bring us to the Great Sea versus Koholint Island.
Go for it.
No. Go ahead.
I really like Koholint as an overworld. I think the characters are bringing in people from different games.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny and unique and quirky, and like, but I love Wind Waker too. But
Koholint is charming in that it is a lot about music, right? Like you're
Yeah.
collecting musical instruments
Mhm.
to wake a fish that will, bad things will happen when that fish wakes up. But like, I don't know. That's a singular thing in the same way that like Hytopia is, right? That like they're about fashion and Koholint's maybe more about music. Also, the new like aesthetic for it in the remake it looks just like nothing in Zelda is ever going to be cuter than this little like toy Link.
I think it's fitting that these games are kind of going up, or these overworlds are going up against each other, because I think what they both do very, very well is they are both very joyful.
yeah.
Like just the aesthetic of the games and like being in that world is just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be playing Wind Waker, and it's a lot of fun to be playing Link's Awakening and discovering all the things there. The one knock I would say against Link's Awakening, and it's really just because of its origin, is it's a very small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It is small. And another thing in the Great Sea's favor is that it is fun to throw fish food out for the little fish that will draw your maps, and then have them like come up and go like shmee, and then draw a map for you.
Also, one game has Tingle and the other one does not. We haven't
I
really
forgot about
Great
that.
point.
we haven't
And
really
that's
put the
it.
Tingle factor.
I'm in on that.
All right. Okay. So
And that Elvis guy who goes, hoy, hoy,
Yeah.
pow! That guy was great.
Also, a while back we did an episode where we were discussing the best NPCs in Zelda. Omar was on that episode.
Oh, nice.
And a lot of candidates for that title came from Wind Waker.
Yeah,
and
like, I
from
feel
the
like
Great
it
Sea.
does have like the quirk that we all praise Link's Awakening for.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
All right. So I think
I think,
we understand each other. Koholint Island is our number 3,
yeah.
which makes our number 2 the Great Sea from Wind Waker. And then, Breath of the Wild Hyrule comes in triumphantly and, like, without challenger at number 1. I mean, Mark, I said this to you off mic when we came up with this idea that the best part about Breath of the Wild is its open world. And Breath of the Wild is like arguably one of the best games ever made. So like, how can its world be challenged by like anything?
Yeah, I mean the joy of that game is exploration.
Yeah.
And once you've found, like, you've discovered every part of the map, there was like a sense of I still really enjoyed the game, but you were more just like playing it out, like climbing a tower, opening it up, seeing, especially when you get off the Great Plateau, like understanding how big and massive that world is.
Yeah.
And then with like the DLC, seeing the hero's journey, I think they called it, where you could see where you had gone and all the areas, even though I'd put 100 hours into it, that I had not even
Yeah.
looked at yet,
Yeah.
was incredible.
I
Well-
agree. And it's like you like all these things from these other games. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it takes everything and puts it on a grander scale. Like, oh, we like Death Mountain in Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess. You could climb it, it's
Yeah.
like, and
Yes.
fight
Yes.
a magma golem. And I'm like, oh,
Well, I love it. Well, and like, if you want Lon Lon Ranch, the ruins of it are in here somewhere,
Mhm.
right? You want the like Outpost Island is basically in there. The pictures were showing up recently where like you can see all those same, like, they take all of the like cool little pieces from all these games and put them into the Hyrule of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Quick aside, my buddy Andrew Blevins, who is a completionist when it comes to games, sent me a text about a month ago, which is a screenshot of like the loading screen from Breath of the Wild, and he was up to 899 Korok seeds, and was like, "I'm gonna find this last one." Sent me a text maybe like 2 days later. It showed 900. He had completed it. Great, very impressive, right? Good work, Andrew. 4 weeks later, I get a new text from him. It's a screenshot, and now the screen is red because he's playing in master mode, which means he started over in master mode. 120 shrines, 900 Korok seeds. So, like, this game and the world of it is compelling enough to drive him to explore it to completion twice in the course of a month, which is insane, of course. He's an insane man, but I think it speaks to the quality of the world.
That's incredible. I applaud you, sir.
Mhm.
Wow.
He's got 340 hours in this game.
Wow. That doesn't even seem that long. That's crazy.
I could spend more time there. Now we have to know, does Hytopia belong where it is, or should we move it up?
All right, let's do a quick scan. Yeah, Breath of the Wild, congratulations, whatever. Hytopia, I think, is almost in the perfect middle here. We have Hyrule from Zelda 1 and 2 directly below it, and Hyrule from A Link to the Past, and including Dark World directly above it.
Which I think is right. All right,
Yeah.
did we do it? Are we happy with this list? I will recap it if we are.
I think so. I
feel good
I'm
about
ready
it.
to stamp this definitive.
Okay, so at the bottom, don't have numbers here. The Hyrule from Minish Cap, etc. Labrina from Oracle of Ages. New Hyrule from the Phantom. Nope, I'm wrong. The
Great Sea or King's
Something of the Ocean King.
King Ocean Sea.
the World of the Ocean King.
That's right.
From Phantom Hourglass. Skyloft / the Sky / the Surface from Skyward Sword. New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks. Holodrum from Oracle of Seasons, the Hyrule from Zelda and Zelda 2, Hytopia, Long May It Rain from Triforce Heroes, Hyrule in the Dark World from Link to the Past, Hyrule and Low Rule from Breath of the Wild.
No, from Link Between Worlds.
I see a W and my mind is like, you know which one that is. And a B. I stand by my mistake. Then Termina from Majora's Mask. And then a tie for fourth place, the Hyrules from Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess. Koholint Island from Link's Awakening at number 3. The Great Sea from Wind Waker at number 2. And coming in at number 1, Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda, the Breath of the Wild. Gentlemen, I think we did it.
I think so too.
This is great. I want to go back and play all these games now, especially Triforce Heroes. Matt, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Dude, thank you guys for having me. I'm glad we have this definitive list, and I can't wait to get this new game. like I got really excited from this.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Is there anything that you would like to plug, sir?
Yeah, guys, make sure to check out our podcast, the Ultimate Fictional Character Podcast, where we put people against each other, characters from all across the board, manga, TV, movies, commercials, and we talk about what makes them great. And we have it's like bracket style. And Mark came on last week. So, yeah, come listen to that episode and see who won. It was a pretty good discussion.
It really was.
Yeah. And then check out our video game podcast, Hit Points, all on the Zeitgeist Network. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Oh, yeah. I'm so bad at playing myself.
No, look, it's hard. It's hard to plug ourselves. Mark, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Just the three of us and our great sense of fashion. That's it.
I'm looking forward to us playing Triforce Heroes together.
Dude, honestly,
it's going to be great.
I got real excited when you said that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Matt.
Thank you.
All right. How'd we do?
I mean, I've got to say, the real winner here is Hytopia.
Oh, yeah. Hytopia and Triforce Heroes and us for having the courage to stand up for it, I think.
I mean, look, this show is synonymous. The C in NCS famously stands for cartridge, but also courage.
Clothing. Oh. All right. Well, if you think we messed anything up here, you should let us know by emailing us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. But I don't think we did. I think we did a great job.
I mean, it's definitive.
Remember, that's going to do it for this episode of the show. Remember to please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you like the episode. You could share it on Facebook or Twitter or any place where you are fashionably wearing complete Goron mascot suits, which could be anywhere as far as I'm concerned. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We also have a Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.
Hello. Check out our new podcast, Barely Composed, with us, Femini Trio.
Each week, we write a brand new comedic song with one of our funny friends.
Listen and subscribe to Barely Composed on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by Campfire Media.
Campfire.